What started as a simple dog tag soon unfolded into a heroic story of individuals sacrificed to this country. Frank Hill Fleming was born on December 14, 1893 in Doe Run, Missouri, to a Reverend Nicholas Fleming and Mary Fleming. Frank was a middle child with older brother Martin and younger sister named Betty. Frank spent his whole life in Doe Run, Missouri, eventually earning the job as a clerk with his mother. He eventually married Emma Moore August 9th of 1913, but unfortunately soon after they divorced. When war broke out, Frank, like many others, was eager to join the military. He had hoped to have been drafted in the first round of draft, but after not seeing his name on the board, he and some friends decided to enlist in the old 1st Infantry Regiment of the Missouri National Guard. His unit would then turn into Company L of the 138th Infantry Regiment of the newly formed 35th Division. He would train in Oklahoma until his time to go overseas. He departed May 3rd of 1918, going overseas to France. From there, the division would train with liaisons, figuring out the new way of trench warfare for the American Army. He was promoted from private first class to cook, ensuring he kept his men well fed. On September 12, 1918, the Battle of Saint-Mihiel began. And although the division did not actively take part in frontline combat, it was in reserves. It wasn't until September 26, 1918, that the Battle of the Muese Argonne began, that the division would take active frontline combat. Here, Frank's unit would see very heavy fighting in the first initial days of the Muese Argonne offensive. Although as a cook, he wouldn't have initially been pressed into frontline service. Due to heavy losses the night prior, September 27th, he was forced into the frontline service to fill in the gap. On the morning of September 28th, the infantry had dug into the front lines, just south of Exermont, near Montrevaux Woods. It was here that the Germans began to fortify their positions both in and around Exermont. It was here that the infantry regrouped and reorganized, as many of their men were tangled and scattered throughout the land. Orders were given for the infantry to press forward their advance that morning. Although very disorganized and undermanned, the 138th, along with the rest of the infantry regiments of the division, pressed forward. It was realized by mid-afternoon that the heavy artillery and machine gun fire withered away their ranks. And because of this, Lieutenant Colonel Parker, commanding the regiment, had seen the loss and ordered his men to retreat back. They had retired to a little valley northwest of Carpentry and dug in for the night. It was during this retreat back that Frank H. Fleming, while wounded in the foot, had decided to cover his retreating men. Armed only with his pistol, 3 Germans pursued him, firing indiscriminately towards his position. It was here that Frank had raised his pistol and killed the 3 Germans. Upon eliminating the enemy soldiers, Frank had turned to retreat back towards their positions. This is where, unfortunately, a rifle bullet had struck him, killing him instantly. As witnesses passed by, they noted Frank's courage and heroism in his last moments of his life. The division kept on fighting until relieved the morning of October 1st. Frank was temporarily buried until 1919, when his division returned back home and his body could be brought with them. He was the only man from Doe Run, Missouri to have his body brought back home. There was an honor guard formed for his funeral. They said that the church was so crowded that spectators gathered up outside. He was buried in the Oddfellows Cemetery in Doe Run, Missouri. He was honored in many ways, like a poem from his sister, remembering his sacrifice to this country. He was also honored with a plaque, donated by the county to memorialize the men who died in service. Frank's sacrifice is still memorialized today in the town, and is honored and memorialized by us today, creating this video to tell his short life story. Please, if you like, subscribe, and share. Spread this story's message and the hero who sacrificed his life for our great country. Thank you, and have a good evening.